Welcome to Lease Buyout Wars. Today we will unpack whether it makes sense to purchase your leased vehicle now or wait until the residual value payoff date. We will compare flexibility versus locking in value, discuss interest rates and payments, analyze total costs including taxes and fees, and map out a practical decision framework. Let's dive in, and then we'll test your understanding with quick quizzes along the way. First, we will outline what is at stake in this decision. Next, we will compare early buyout versus waiting with real numbers. Then we will examine flexibility, market risk, and opportunity cost. After that, we will factor in hidden costs such as taxes and fees. We will then present a step-by-step decision framework. Finally, we will reinforce learning with short quizzes and a concise summary. Before we begin, please note this is educational content and not personalized financial advice. Taxes, fees, residual calculations, purchase options, and interest rates vary widely by state, lender, and contract terms. Always verify with your leasing company, local DMV, and a qualified advisor. With that established, let's proceed to what's truly at stake. At the core of this decision lies the trade-off between flexibility and risk. If you wait, you keep the right to walk away at lease end, especially if the market value falls below your residual value. If you buy early, you assume all risks immediately, including depreciation, potential accidents, or later discovered defects. Additionally, cash flow changes from a lower lease payment to a higher loan payment may tighten your budget. With 16 months left, experts suggest reassessing 2 to 3 months before lease end for the clearest picture. Now let's consider the allure of an early buyout. A 5.6% APR can appear attractive. However, replacing a roughly $375 monthly lease payment with a $500+ loan payment compresses your monthly cash flow. Early buyout typically means you are paying the remaining depreciation costs immediately instead of gradually over the remaining lease months. While the total savings may appear marginal in some cases, the more consequential loss is flexibility. If the used car market declines or your vehicle has issues later, you cannot simply return it at lease end once you have already purchased it. Let's compare a representative scenario. Early buyout might show a quoted payoff of around $24,651, which becomes roughly $26,000 after taxes and fees. Waiting means an eventual residual value of $19,668 and making approximately $6,000 in remaining lease payments at $375 per month for 16 months. Buying early brings a higher monthly payment and shifts depreciation and accident risk to you right away, while waiting preserves flexibility and the right to walk away if market prices decline. This flowchart begins by asking whether you possess substantial equity now, meaning the current market value of your car significantly exceeds your buyout price. If the answer is yes, you might consider buying early or trading to capture that equity. If not, preserving flexibility through waiting is prudent. Next, evaluate whether you can comfortably handle a higher loan payment. If you are not comfortable, waiting and reassessing 2 to 3 months before lease end is advised. Even if you can afford the higher payment, if equity is not substantial, it still often makes sense to wait. The final checkpoint occurs 2 to 3 months before lease end, when you compare real wholesale quotes to your residual value, inspect the vehicle, and decide whether to buy, return, or trade. On the left, waiting preserves your walkaway option, reduces the chance of negative equity if prices fall, maintains a lower monthly payment so you can invest the difference, and defers taxes and fees until your position is clearer. You will also have more information later, including real market values, vehicle condition, and your mileage status. On the right, buying early can lock in a current rate, potentially capture equity if your market value greatly exceeds the buyout price, avoid certain lease-end fees, and eliminate mileage concerns. However, buying early transfers depreciation and accident risk to you immediately. Shifting from a $375 lease to a $500+ loan cuts monthly liquidity. If you keep the lease and invest the approximately $125 monthly difference for 16 months at around 5% annual yield, the future value can land roughly near $2,050, depending on exact rates and compounding. This is not guaranteed, but it illustrates the opportunity cost. Liquidity has value. More cash on hand means more flexibility, better emergency preparedness, and potentially better negotiating leverage later. Here is a practical framework. First, gather your payoff quote, residual value, taxes, fees, and current loan rates. Second, obtain real market valuations from multiple sources, including wholesale offers, not just retail listings. Third, estimate your loan payment compared to your current lease payment. Fourth, analyze the cash flow and the opportunity cost of the difference. Fifth, consider risk factors like depreciation, accidents, and potential manufacturer defects. Sixth, plan to recheck the entire analysis 2 to 3 months before the lease ends. Seventh, proceed only if you have clear equity or a strong, well-justified cash flow rationale. Do not forget taxes and fees. A payoff quote of $24,651 can quickly become approximately $26,000 after taxes and fees, which increases your loan principal. Registration, title, documentation, and lender fees vary by state and by lender. Always include them in your calculations and request a detailed payoff worksheet from your lessor. Now let's talk timing. With 16 months left, your most decisive window typically falls 2 to 3 months before lease end. At that point, obtain real quotes from multiple buyers and compare them to your residual value to determine whether you have true equity. Simultaneously, inspect your vehicle and price any needed reconditioning. This combination of market data and vehicle condition provides a reliable foundation for your final decision. Quiz time. Which choice best preserves your ability to walk away if the market crashes before your lease ends? Option A, buying out the lease early and financing now. Option B, waiting until 2 to 3 months before lease end to decide. Option C, extending the lease into a new long-term loan immediately. Option D, ignoring market valuations and focusing on convenience. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is waiting until 2 to 3 months before lease end to decide. Waiting preserves the walkaway option and allows you to compare real market quotes against your residual value before taking on the risks associated with ownership. Next quiz. When is it generally recommended to reassess your lease buyout decision for the clearest read on the market and your position? Option A, immediately after signing your lease. Option B, about 12 months before lease end. Option C, roughly 2 to 3 months before lease end. Option D, only after your lease has already ended. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is roughly 2 to 3 months before the lease ends. At that time, you can obtain real quotes, evaluate the vehicle's condition, and minimize uncertainty to make a confident decision. Here is a simple breakdown. Principal, consisting of your payoff amount plus initial fees, typically makes up the vast majority of the total. Sales tax can be substantial depending on your state, and miscellaneous fees further increase total cost. Including these components early avoids underestimating your loan balance and monthly payment. Let's cement the key points. First, unless your current market value significantly exceeds your buyout price, waiting is often the financially sound move. Second, keeping the ability to walk away protects you if the market drops. Third, preserve cash flow and consider investing the difference. Fourth, include taxes and fees in your calculations. Fifth, reassess 2 to 3 months before lease end using real quotes and inspections. To summarize, in most cases, waiting preserves optionality and reduces risk. Early buyout can be justified if you have clear, substantial equity right now. Use a numbers-first approach and time your decision near the end of the lease. Always compare real wholesale quotes to your residual value and factor taxes and fees into every calculation. Thank you for watching. If this video helped clarify your decision, please like, share, and subscribe. Share your numbers and scenario in the comments so we can learn together and help you navigate your lease buyout with confidence.